Move.
Hi, I'm Cheri from C Spot Reviews.
And
Go
I'm
ahead.
Nikki from C Spot Reviews.
So, okay, so we've been reading a lot of books over the last few weeks, and we're getting kind of lazy, and we didn't really feel like writing about all of them. But we do review on. We post little, reviews either on the website, which is reviews.c-spot.net. Or I post stuff on Goodreads, and Nikki does mostly Amazon, I think.
Yeah, I try to remember to do both at the same time.
But she mostly just sucks.
I mostly suck, and you mostly suck at Amazon.
I do, but I think I've got mostly caught up now.
I think
So,
I have my Goodreads caught up. I think I'm good.
all right. Well, I have to do Goodreads because I have to do my challenge, which I kicked ass at, I just want to say.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It's that transition to audiobooks. If anybody wants to ask Cheri about audiobooks,
Yeah.
she is a good resource because she reads the shit out of audiobooks.
I do. Reading with my ears has really, been able to expand the amount of reading that I do. It's incredible. Okay, so let's see. I don't know. Do you want to go? You want to pick a book? You have fewer books. I can run through some of the shittier books that I've listened to or read right quick.
Let's do it real quick because that
Okay.
sets the tone.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so talking about audiobooks, I watch for sales and deals and things like that, and so I picked up a bunch that were free. And actually, I'm not going to talk about any of those. I bought this one. Okay, which made me unhappy, but it was kind of short. It was only a few hours long, and to kind of kick up my nerdiness factor a little bit, I enjoy Garrison Keillor on Prairie
I like
Home
him
Companion.
too.
Yeah. So I saw that I picked up one of his audiobooks, and I haven't read it yet, called Pontoon, and that one's more of the Lake Wobegon, which I really enjoy those stories. But there was another one that was on sale, Guy Noir and the Straight Skinny. And so for those of you who don't know, Guy Noir is one of the characters that Garrison Keillor does, he's a gumshoe, kind of talks like he's in the 40s and stuff like that.
If you've seen the movie, it was played by.
There was a Guy Noir movie?
No, there was a Prairie Home Companion movie.
Oh, there was?
You haven't seen it?
No.
Oh, you must. It's really good.
Okay, well, maybe we can talk about that on Flix sometime.
We can totally do that.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Plug.
So I've always enjoyed the short Guy Noir bits. What I learned from Guy Noir and the Straight Skinny is that I can only handle Guy Noir in tiny bits because mostly it was I don't know. So
I would imagine actually that most of the skits on Prairie Home Companion are good for the length that they are in the show.
Yeah, it was just too much. It was just too much. Another one that was I got for free. It's the follow-up to it's a follow-up to Go the Fuck to Sleep.
Oh!
It's called You Have to Fucking Eat.
My sister's kid is going through that right now.
Yes, and it's narrated by Bryan Cranston from Malcolm in the Middle and Breaking Bad fame, and it was enjoyable. It's only a few minutes long, like 4 minutes long, something like that. But it just does not compare to Go the Fuck to Sleep, narrated by Sam Jackson. So,
I mean, that one was amazing.
It was. So, I mean, if you go into it with lowered expectations, you'll be good. You'll be good to go. Okay, so let me check these off my list. Okay, so
lowered expectations.
I love that skit. That was fantastic. Okay, so let's see. Since you still only have a few, I'm going to keep going.
Go, do it.
Okay.
Because I don't listen with my ears so much, so I have to actually read it.
I think there are only 3 books on my list of 9 that I read with my eyeballs.
Jesus Christ. And that's not very long. You read a shitload in the last month.
I know. Actually, to be really honest, I mostly only read one of them with my eyeballs. The other 2 I converted and listened to with text-to-speech.
Oh my god.
But it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
Okay.
ILL do that in the future.
She says it because the audiobook program that we used to use, the new one doesn't do that.
Oh, that's too bad.
Whenever there was a contraction like IL or something like that, it's like ILL love you.
ILL. ILL went to the store.
That was
or IVE. IVE been missing you.
It just, the one that we listen to now, I don't know if Nikki's experienced this yet.
I haven't tried it yet, no.
When it says hug, it's come here and give me a hug. It makes me laugh every single time I hear it. Hug! It's very good, very good. Okay, so I also listened to Bram Stoker's Dracula with the full cast production. And it was really good, except I felt a little cheated because Tim Curry is listed like second under Alan Cummings as the big narrators, and Tim Curry narrated the part of Van Helsing, who has a tiny part. Like he
really doesn't
15 minutes.
Yeah, that's too bad.
So I was kind of pissed off about that, but I do have to say I'd always wanted to read the book, and I guarantee you I would not have gotten through it if I had to read it with my eyes.
And Alan Cumming has a great voice.
And he did most of it, and he did a great job. And the woman that read Mina, who is really the hero of the story, in my opinion anyway. I can't remember her name, but she also did. For folks who have kids who are looking for some audiobooks to listen to with your 8 to 10-year-olds in that range, Rick Riordan has a series called the Kane Chronicles. It's a series of 3 books about 2 multi-ethnic kids who get involved with all these Egyptian gods, and it's really a great series. I loved it. I really hope he comes out with more of those. It was really good series. And the woman that did Mina also narrates the sister. I'm listening to her, I'm like, oh my god, she sounds so familiar. So that was a really good one. I'll do one more and then you can go.
Go for it.
Okay.
Also, fair warning, if anybody hears snoring, it's because my dog is sleeping right here.
It's Nikki's butt.
Yeah, it's my butt.
It's her butt.
It's my butt.
This one I highly recommend for anybody who enjoys Amy Poehler. I listened to Yes Please. It was fantastic. I highly recommend you don't read it with your eyes. Get the audiobook because she has a bunch of guest stars come in. Carol Burnett's in there. Kathleen Turner. Seth Meyers does a chapter. It was just really good. It was very well done. It was just, like having her hang out and talk with you for several hours. It was very.
And I would love to do that.
It really.
For the record.
Yeah, it was very good. So definitely, if you can pick that one up, do. It's worth a credit.
Definitely.
Okay.
Big Audible proponents.
Yes. Yeah. Or if you don't have audio, if you don't have Audible, you can pick up the CDs or check your local libraries. A lot of libraries they have audiobook downloads that you can listen to through Overdrive or just through your iPod, just transfer it over whatever your device is. There are lots of different options for getting audiobooks. Audible just is my favorite one because they're all in the same place and I can listen to them on any device. So, okay, what do you got?
Well, the first one that I read was Finding the Grain, and you read this one.
I did. I forgot you were going to talk about that one, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's one of the ones that I've read. I thought it was okay. I know that you really liked it.
I did. Do you want to tell what it's about a little bit?
Well, it's about this girl named, what is it, Blue?
Mm-hmm.
Riley or something like that?
Augusta Blue Riley.
Augusta Blue Riley. And it starts off with her parents have died in like a freak tornado storm in the South. And she is basically forced to go to college at this other university where she doesn't really want to go. And she meets this girl that she falls for, and then they have kind of a rocky romance, and then they get separated, and then she basically.
Sorry, I'm laughing because Taz is snoring.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, it's okay. It's my dog's just.
It's really cute. I can't stop him. It's too cute. But she basically goes off and finds herself. She quits school and like meets a bunch of people, sleeps with some chicks, and eventually goes to find where she wants to be in her life. So it goes through a lot of what being gay in the 80s and 90s would experience. So people that had the same experiences, I feel like they would appreciate it more than me because I didn't go through that.
You don't know.
I don't know.
And I think that is why. I think that's why I liked it more than you did, because there were parts where it kind of dragged a little bit, and there were some things that there were a lot of choices that she made that I was kind of like.
So this is Win Malone, by the way. Win Malone. I forgot to say who the author was.
Right.
Sorry.
But
He's drooling on my computer, by the way.
Nice. But there were so many things that she went through with the attitudes, and the reasons why her relationship with the young woman was so difficult. It had a lot to do with the culture and society at that point in time.
Mm-hmm.
So I could totally relate to that because I went through a lot of that being in the military and trying to be part of a couple while hiding and trying to live a double life, going out on dates with other people while I have a girlfriend. It's something that I think a lot of people now, a lot of you young kids.
Oh, you young
whippersnappers. Yeah, it's something that I think is a little tough to understand, because I can see folks going, well, because even I was like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you going on a date with this guy? Well, dumbass, you did the same thing because I felt like I had to.
Mm-hmm.
But as you get closer to the end of the book, when there's a point in time when and this really spans, this goes from when she's,
it goes like 20 years or something like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little more than that even, I think. It takes her into her 40s, and it starts out when she's, 17 or 18 years old. But there's a certain point where she kind of figures out where she belongs and who she is, and she kind of has this. She finds the grain, right? And that at that point, I just fell in love with the book. I think if a bunch of the stuff before that didn't happen, I think I still would have gotten to that place. But yes, so if you're in your 40s, 50s, I think you'll really appreciate this. If you're younger than that. You may not enjoy it as much, or you could take it as an opportunity to learn. Or you could just call me and ask
I see. Yeah, you could just ask Cheri.
You can just ask me, it's fine.
What was it like, Cheri?
It was really hard.
I think it could have been written a little bit better. I think that there was a lot of repetitive things in it where you would hear the same thing several times, you would witness it happening, and then the character would describe it, and then she would describe it to another character later on. I feel like that could have been cleaned up a lot.
Yeah.
And
there were some typos and stuff too.
Yeah, there was a lot of some typos and grammar issues. Also, there was one point where someone was talking about, it was like the first time they went out together fishing because they both love fishing, and how this girl's ass was really outlined by her waders, and I was like, waders don't really outline anything.
She had tight waiters.
Yeah, I was like, you don't make tight waiters.
It was the 80s.
They tapered those waiters. Yeah, so there was like some stuff where I was like, okay, I don't know, and so I couldn't really connect with the main character just because I didn't really understand her choices that much, and I felt like it could have been done a lot smoother and probably cleaned up some.
All right, well, there you go.
There you go.
There you go. Okay.
But I think that if you connect with the story, that's the thing, is that I didn't really connect with the story, so everything else was kind of more obvious to me, because I wasn't like really pulled in. If I'm really pulled into a story, then I don't really notice the stuff that I would notice otherwise, because I'm just like, no, I really like the story, so I don't really care.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right then.
Basically.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. All right.
There you go.
You want to talk about another one? You want me to do one?
Why don't you do one?
Okay.
And then we'll talk about one that we've both read again.
Are there some in there?
Hypno Chicks.
Okay.
Are you excited about that?
Okay.
Yeah. Not yet. We'll save that one.
Okay, so I read another one called Puzzled by the Clues. It's a mystery by Gene Sheldon. Now this is kind of fun because it was set in the 40s in Chicago. So there's and the author does a good job of really putting in a lot of historical stuff. So a friend of the family's he dies. The police immediately rule it a suicide. The friends and family are like, no, I'm pretty sure it wasn't, and then they go about solving the mystery, which was really good. The premise of the mystery was really good. The characters I enjoyed for the most part. This was a sequel. The thing that kind of held me up, and it was really fun for the first third of the book, was the language, but then it kind of got really old pretty quickly after that, and a lot of use of first names in conversation, kind of overkill, and it just, at that point it got to be a little distracting. But the mystery itself was good. There's a lot of political intrigue, and it's Chicago in the 40s, so there's a lot of
jazz and liquor.
Yeah, there's a lot of mob and stuff like that. So I think it was in the 40s. I'm pretty sure it was in the 40s. I think so. I'm pretty sure it was in the 40s. So there you go.
It was sometime.
Somebody had air conditioner. Somebody had an air conditioner.
So it couldn't have been the 20s. So
yeah, it couldn't have been the 20s. So yeah, it had to be the 40s. So that was fun. So if you can deal with a lot of name repetition, you'll be fine, because it was pretty good. Okay, so there you go. Puzzled by the Clues. I wouldn't actually mind reading another one.
By them.
Yeah, and there was a romantic aspect to it, but it kind of that to me felt kind of forced and not really. They kind of seem more like buddies.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is if you have something where you're really focusing on the intrigue of a thing or the story, and you're not really laying the groundwork for them to be any chemistry, for them to be romantic, and then you're like, oh yeah, they should probably get together, and then they don't. Yeah.
And I didn't read the first one where they met. There was another mystery where there was a bunch of drama, and the other lady's partner was killed. So there was some issues with that, where she's still kind of dealing with the grief of losing her long-term partner, and the conflicting guilt and things like that of being involved with somebody new. But I still didn't feel like they had a lot of chemistry.
Yeah.
But she had a nice car and an apartment on the lake that had air conditioning. So
nice. I like.
There's that. All right. Next.
You want to talk about Hypnotizing Chickens?
I do want to talk about Hypnotizing Chickens.
By Julia Watts. Okay. Now, we have this online book club kind of on Goodreads, and they picked Hypnotizing Chickens like, I don't know, a year ago. Is that
No,
right?
this is a new one. No, this one's newer.
So it
This
was like
one
6
just came
months
out
ago.
this
Was it
year.
just this summer that you
Yeah,
guys read it?
I did a buddy read for it.
Right, and everybody was gung-ho about it, and I was like, oh, I really want to read that book, and I bought it, and then I never read it, and then I finally read it, and I love it. It is the cutest book. And I've only read one other Julia Watts book, and I didn't love that one, Wedding Bell Blues. I know you loved it.
I did.
I liked it, but it was, I don't know what it was missing for me, because it still had that really good humor. She writes with really excellent humor and interactions, but there was something missing in that book that I don't really remember what it was, but this book was just really, really cute. And it's about this girl, Chris, who basically she turns 40 and the next day her longtime partner dumps her unceremoniously. And then it's basically her being like, I'm miserable in my life because I left my job for this woman at this prestigious university where she was a tenure-track professor, and she left that to come to this like tiny-ass town because that's where she was a doctor. And so she kind of put her life on hold for her partner, and then she didn't have her partner anymore. So she's like, okay, I need to figure out what I'm going to do with my life, and then she goes back to her hometown, which is this tiny-ass town in the South. I don't remember where it is.
I don't remember. It's
I don't
somewhere
remember.
in Appalachia.
Yeah, it is Appalachia.
Everybody's
And,
super, super poor. There are no jobs.
yeah, lots of overalls.
Yeah, the biggest industry is meth making.
Yes,
you know.
basically.
And then I'll take over. And then so she
Go for
goes.
it.
She goes to this little town because her grandmother needs help. Taking care of herself on just on day-to-day basis. So she goes and she's like, okay, well, I'll go take care of the grandmother, and we get to meet her brother and sister-in-law and their kid and Chris's parents and the physical therapist that comes in, who has a daughter, kind of recently divorced, and they hit it off and get to be friends, and now they had chemistry.
They did have good chemistry, yes.
They had very good chemistry.
They had good friend chemistry, and they had good romantic chemistry, which I think was kind of hard to pull off.
Yeah,
a lot of times if you have good friend chemistry, then it kind of loses the wiggity whack.
They so, and it's also kind of a well, I don't want to say that, but so they have to. The daughter is really smart and bookworm, and I think Chris is like an English professor or something like that.
Yeah, she is like English composition or something like that. Or...
So she and the daughter get along really well, but it's a really interesting look at family dynamics, the difference between living in a big city, being ashamed to some degree of where you come from, and then kind of learning that you can be all of these. You can have all of those parts, and it like Nikki said, there's a lot of really good humor in it. She has a fantastic voice.
She does, and she's really excellent at making every character really distinct, and she pulls off the Southern accent really well to where you read it and you can hear it in your head.
Yep.
Which is also really hard to do. You can really fuck that up pretty hard. But it's really more about family than it is about her finding, love again. And I love her. I love the interactions with her and her brother. Her brother would always come to her window and be like, "Come on and have a PBR," and they go out and have a PBR and a smoke out in the porch and stuff like that. And the grandmother's she's really witty and funny and really conservatively Christian, but also really loving and open-minded and just really great. I just really loved it.
Yeah.
I really wanted to read it again.
I read it twice. I read it the first time, and then like a couple weeks later, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna read it one more time. I'm just gonna put it in really quick. I'm just gonna read it really fast.
It's a really good one for that because it's not that long, but it reads so fast because it's just you're smiling the whole time and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
And we should go into the next book of mine because it's similar, and I think you would really like it.
Okay, go ahead.
It's Rest Home Runaways by Clifford Henderson.
I've been, when you first told me that you were reading this, I just have to say, I've heard her name for years. I keep hearing how funny she is and how great she is, and I need to read it.
You have to read it. You would, if you loved Rest Home Runaways, you will. I mean, if you loved Hypnotizing Chickens, which I recognize is a weird name, weird title for a book, but it makes sense because there's a thing in there about hypnotizing chickens. Trust me, it'll make sense eventually. But Rest Home Runaways is done in a very similar style, very similar humor, and it's really impressive because it's about kind of 3 different storylines. You have 3 sets of characters. One is the daughter. It starts off with the father, actually. He's older. He's got dementia in the later stages. And whenever you join in the very first chapter, he's at his daughter's house where he's living, and he's making some tea or cooking some soup or something like that, and he's talking to his wife, and she's like, "Oh, you left the cap off of the tea kettle again. I'll put it on for you." And he's like, "Okay, thanks, honey." And then later on, he keeps talking to his wife and joking back and forth, and then all of a sudden there's smoke and he almost burns down his daughter's thing. And the thing is, he's saying, "Oh yeah, my wife is dead," because he's been talking to his wife and she's gone. And you find this out in the very, very beginning of the book. So but I mean, the interactions the whole time is so funny because they're so cute together. And then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh my God, she's dead. He's talking to himself. This is really sad." But even whenever it's really sad, it's really funny, which is so hard to do. And so he has to go to this rest home, but he's still talking to his wife the whole time because she's always there because she's kind of awesome and she's really funny. And so you have him and his wife, and she's convincing him that she wants to go to the beach because they came from the beach. She always wanted to go back to the beach, and they lived like an hour and a half away, and he always promised her he would move back there, and he never did. So her dying wish was for him to go back to the beach with her. And so he does. He escapes the rest home. He also has this set of 3 friends, these women that are there, that say, "Well, we're going to steal the van and we're going to go after them." So they're going, and they go on their own little adventure, and they're called like the runaway grannies. That's what like the media starts calling them. So they're going after them on the guise of finding him and bringing him back, but they're also like, "Let's go get some ice cream. Let's go look over here. Hey, look at this shop." So they're going over the place, and they have their own medical issues, and they're all, getting really old. They've all dealt with loss. And then you also have the daughter who's in this long-time partnership with her wife, and she is having marital problems. She's older. She feels unattractive. She doesn't feel like they're connecting anymore, so they have that thing going on too, and she's also looking for her father. So they're kind of all going on this adventure together but separately, and all of them together go through like the zaniest things, and it's so cute, even though it's dealing with like such sad things occasionally, because there's always like the reminder of like, "Oh yeah, this guy's really having a hard time," but also then you're laughing at his interactions with his wife, so it's really, really good. I really want you to read it.
Okay, I will.
I know you'll love it. I know you will.
Yeah, it sounds like I will.
Yeah, you will.
Okay, all right.
And it has things that everyone can relate to. Everyone's gone through loss. Everyone's gone through like older people that you've known that's kind of having a hard time and not really making any sense anymore. And
are you talking about me?
Yeah, you, basically. Basically, everybody has a Cheri in their life where you're like, "Oh, she used to be, what, And she keeps talking to her wife, who I don't think I've ever seen.
You're horrible.
But yeah, everybody should read this book. It's really, really well done, and I think it just won a Rainbow Award. Actually,
it did. I saw this morning or yesterday or this morning. Yeah, I saw that.
Well deserved. I don't know. I think I liked it better than the other one, Hypnochicks, just because I know I love Hypnochicks, but I mean, Hypnochicks had kind of an abrupt ending,
It did, yeah.
Like it could have gone on for a little bit longer to kind of flesh out some of the subplots, but this one I felt like it was really.
All right. Okay. Well, it's on my list. I will read it very, very soon.
Yeah, read it with your ears. It'll take you 5 seconds.
Okay. But I'm reading Outlander right now with my ears, and I'm really...
You'll be done with that tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
No, I'm only a quarter of the way through. So let me talk about Outlander for a minute. I'm really enjoying it.
My sisters loved Outlander.
Here's the thing I'm not enjoying quite as much. There's a lot of man sex. I mean, not man-on-man sex. There's just a lot of sex.
Which could be interesting. Hello.
I think there is some man sex in some other later book. But it's like I was listening while I was at Target tonight picking up some stuff, and I had to go. I'm looking through holiday candies, and
you're like,
and his testicles contracted, and it's like, I don't really need to know all of this. She felt his testicles contract. He erupted. I'm like, okay.
Congratulations.
Where are the red coats? Okay, but I am enjoying that one.
But I mean, that's Diana Gabaldon, right?
Gabaldon?
I don't know how you say it.
Gabaldon.
But that's been out for a while, right? Because there's like a series of books.
Yeah, I think there's 8 or 9, and then there's
currently a show, which you love.
I've watched the first 4 or 5 episodes, and they seem to be going along with the book fairly well, from what I saw. But I mean, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm definitely going to keep going. If it just continues to be more romance than adventure and historical stuff, I don't know that I'll read the second one, which would be unfortunate because I already bought it. But Audible has a really great return policy. So
yeah, if you don't read it, I'll read it.
Whatever.
Or you can return it.
Okay, so the book that I just finished, that I was going to do a separate review for, but we'll just talk about it here, is the new Sarah Waters book, which is
The Paying Guests.
The Paying Guests, yeah, which Nikki heard me, sending text messages and emails to her. Oh my God, I think something's getting ready to happen.
Something's going to happen, because Sarah Waters, she will pull the rug right under you, and she doesn't care.
And she did. She did several times. Once,
I love her.
Oh, it was really good. And for those of you who, for you lesfic readers who got kind of pissed off because she moved away from lesfic, you can, if you enjoyed Fingersmith.
God, that book makes me swoon.
I know. If you enjoyed Fingersmith because of the twists and turns and the different plot shifts and things like that, and the dark nature of it, you'll like this.
Ooh, so I need to read it then.
It's it's just really good.
It's hard. Okay, it's hard to talk about a Sarah Waters book.
You can't
give anything away. It's impossible.
Yeah,
I remember I did that one podcast with Sandra Moran, and we talked about Fingersmith, and we were like, well, something happens halfway through, and it's big, and then other stuff happens.
And that's really what it is. So essentially what it's about is it takes place in I was just telling somebody it was 1922, 1926. Damn it, it's somewhere in there. The First World War just ended, or a few years before that. Damn it, I can't remember what year it was.
So it's like Downton Abbey time.
Yeah. So
during that one season.
During that first season, before they jumped like 8 years into the future. There's a mother and a daughter who were pretty well off, and now in order to be able to keep their home, they have to take in lodgers, the paying guests, and a couple move in. As the title
would suggest.
Yeah, so this married couple move in, and and initially they don't really get along very well. Well, you know, the family that lives there, they're kind of looking down their nose at him, and they're kind of flighty, and but then the daughter really gets involved with this couple, and they get to know each other, and they spend time together, and there's a lot of and the daughter's a lesbian who had an affair previously. The mom knows about it and is wigged out. She doesn't want to. She's not allowed to talk about it. No, we're not going to talk about that. And then a whole bunch of stuff happens.
And then a bunch of stuff happens.
And then a bunch of more stuff happens related.
And then
to
everyone dies.
And then, well, somebody does die. But then a whole bunch of stuff happens. But it was really good, and all the way up until the end, I wasn't sure what was going to happen.
This is exciting.
But it's classic Sarah Waters, very well written. I did the audio book, and the narrator was phenomenal. If you do audiobooks, I would go right to the audio for this one.
Yes.
So there you go. Sarah Waters fans, go get it.
Buttons. He's trying to push all the buttons every time he's scratching.
Okay.
I only have one left, so
I have
three. You have left. Like
I have 3 left. So, okay, Swan Song by Robert McCammon. Really freaking long, really freaking good. The apocalypse comes, the nuclear
the acapella lips.
A lot of nuclear bombs that hit all over the world. Things happen, factions, fighting, things, scary. Really, really good. Definitely read it. Okay, and then another one that I read, it's called Tilt-A-Whirl, and this one is kind of is really pretty interesting, and I thought it was really well done. It's by Eva Indigo. It's about this woman, Cassie, who is engaged to be married to another woman named Asha, and she starts having these really vivid dreams, and then they turn into almost like they're like waking dreams where she's just hanging out and she's seeing what appears to be her in a different setting, in a different.
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
And so, you know, she's trying to figure out what the hell is going on, and she's, you know, she sees herself with this dude, and she's like, okay, well, you know, and her family is kind of all fucked up. They're rich and kind of amoral, and she's got all kinds of issues with them. So, you know, she's starting to wonder, you know, do I really want to put my partner through this? Should, you know, so she's wondering, is this her in the future? Did she leave her partner, and, you know, now she's miserable? And so the book is kind of about her figuring out what is going on with these dreams, and it was pretty good. I mean, I figured it out pretty well. Dog is making noises. So it's a pretty quick read. It's 264 pages according to Goodreads. It wasn't perfect, but it was good, and I would definitely read something else by this author. Okay, let's talk about yours, and then we'll finish up with my last one.
My only one I have left is Year of the Monsoon by Karen Werlinger. Werlinger?
I think it's Werlinger. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, Karen. I did not love this book. I feel like well, it's about this girl named Lisa. Well, it's spelled Leisa, but in my brain I call it Lisa, so I don't know whether it's Lisa or something like that, but it follows her, and it's called The Year of the Monsoon because it's 1 year in her life where, like, basically everything that could possibly go wrong goes wrong, and her wife, her longtime partner, are having some serious problems, and at the same time, like, there's this young girl who, just because Lisa is a social worker, and she is kind of working with her to try to get her to be more functional, because she was, like, found in a really bad situation, and so she's trying to get her to be better in her life. and also they have a couple of friends that are in there, and her mother dies at some point, and like a bunch of stuff happens, and you don't really get a breath. Like it's like one bad thing happens, and then the next page another bad thing happens, and another bad thing happens, and another bad thing happens. But there's so many things that happens that all of them are kind of dealt with superficially, so you don't really get any depth into any of the big problems.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't really connect with the reader as to like how this is affecting the person. You know that they're being affected negatively, but like you don't really see why they are, because it's just like, oh, this bad shit happened, meh, and then it's like, oh, this bad shit happened, meh, and then it keeps going and going and going. And I feel like I think the book, the idea of it has, potential. I just feel like it needed a lot more work it needed to be cleaned up a lot, because a lot of it was awkward. There's a lot of time jumps, which some of it I understand because it needs to explain why things happen the way that they did, and it goes kind of to their childhoods and like seeing how they've become the people that they are today. But also, a lot of times you'll shift perspective or time or both in the middle of a paragraph. Like it'll be a line of dialogue, then it'll jump to another person saying something like years ago, and then it'll jump right back into the conversation. So it's really jarring and it's hard to follow.
I can see how that would yank you right out of the story.
Yeah, and it's one thing if it was done in like italic, so that it's like boom, oh okay, I'm shifting something, I got it, and then you can jump right back. Whenever it's done in dialogue the exact same way that the rest of the conversation is going, it's like, what? I don't know what's happening. I didn't really know who was talking, so it was confusing.
Yeah, and I know that we kind of talked about it because all of if you look any place, it's that book almost solidly has absolutely nothing but 4 and 5 star reviews.
Yeah, it's all solid 5 stars.
And I think maybe that. I mean, if I was reading it and I knew that was what had how it was rated everywhere else, I think having those types of issues hit you would be even more distracting, because you're going into it thinking, oh, this is a fucking book.
This is the best book, and it has a really beautiful cover, like, and it's got a good blurb. The blurb sounds really interesting, and you're like, oh man, this is going to be a really interesting story, intriguing. But then you go into it, and there's just so many mistakes that you're just like, what? Like, what am I even reading? I don't even know what's going on. So it sets your expectations too high, and then you go into it, and then you're just boom.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and it just goes to show, what other people think is great and fine, and is not the satisfying read that another person is.
Yeah, it's all personal opinion. Someone else could read this, and the story really connects with them, and they could totally go for it. It's just not for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, my last one is called The Consequence of Murder, and it's by Needy Adams, who I had heard of. Again, this is like Clifford Henderson, right? I mean, I've heard of Needy Adams for years and years and years, and I know that I remember hearing that she did more, like dark kind of paranormal-ish stories. What I didn't know is that she's got a really great sense of humor.
Oh, great.
I laughed out loud many, many times during this book. So what this is about, it's a woman named Mackenzie Cross, and this takes place in a small town in Georgia. And she does essentially what her job is people want to find things like antiques or collectibles or something like that. They contact her. She goes out, she finds what they want, and arranges the sales, right? So she's coming into work one day, and there's police tape everywhere. There is a mummified woman, discovered in the wall of her office. And then essentially what happens is, and then her best friend is a deputy, a female deputy, Veronica, and there's some tension there because Mackenzie's had a crush on her forever, but she believes that she's a straight woman. She's like, she's straight. I don't want to do anything at all that's going to mess up this wonderful friendship that I have. So there's a lot of tension there and a lot of humor, a lot of humorous situations that take place with that. But the main story is around finding out who killed this dead woman, who I cannot remember her name. Hold on one second, because I know I wrote it down.
Well, you did read like all the books.
I did read all the books.
You can't remember all the names.
I cannot remember all the names, but damn it, I can't remember her name. But anyway, so the dead woman actually communicates with Mackenzie. Mm-hmm. Like, she shows up and she's really a bully about it, you know. She's like, you know what?
Kind of a bitch about a ghost.
She is. It's really funny because, you know, she's at home and she can see this woman who I can't remember her name. Like, if she kind of looks at her peripherally, she can see her. But she can also see her fucking with her stuff. So, like, there was a stack of magazines on the table, and she can see her over there, and she can see her shove the magazines, and sure enough, the magazines go flying across, and she's like fighting with her. It's like, God damn it, I will find your. I'm doing the best I can, and the ghost is like slamming her shit around, and
I feel like that's what a real ghost would do. If I were a ghost, I would totally fuck with your shit.
And it's really good. Like, even though I figured out exactly, I mean, the person who did it, who was all related, and, you know, every individual, I had it completely 100% figured out, like maybe a third of the way through. I mean, it's not difficult to figure out, but the ride was great, and I enjoyed this book so much. It was really, really good. So, and this was the first in a series. So there's
more fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So, if you enjoy a murder mystery, even though it's not that much of a mystery,
but a fun read.
It's a really fun read, and it was a very fast read. It says it's 292 pages, but I mean, I couldn't stop listening to it. This is one of the ones that I did on a text to speech, and it was just so much fun. I listened to it constantly. I ignored my family. Like, I'm sorry. Can you just wait for a second?
She's fucking with her magazines. I need to listen to this.
Yeah, but it was really good. So, The Consequence of Murder by Nene Adams. Pick that one up. So, I mean, there you go. We've been talking for 50 minutes, 40.
Should I mention the one that I'm almost done with now?
Yeah, go ahead. You have enough of an opinion of it.
I think I do. I'm reading Everything by Carol Wolfe, which is another book that has like all stellar reviews, which actually it is an extremely well-written book. It's an extremely long book. It's like 550 pages, something like that. Oh my God. It's insanely long, so it's taken me a while. But it's the writing is very lyrical. It's really interesting, and it starts off with this young girl. She's about 14, I think. Yeah, she's 14. And it starts off on the first page, and her first sentence in the book is saying, "It's my fault that my mom died because her mother has a heart attack, and or like an aneurysm or something like that, to where she had like a faulty heart, and she's a world-renowned violinist, and she collapses on stage and dies, and then it goes back 3 months." And it's told from the perspective of the daughter, which at the beginning, the first part is excellent because it's done really well because you're seeing her mother, who's just divorced from her father. She meets up with this girl who she knew when she was younger, and they begin to have a friendship. But you're watching it from the daughter's perspective, so you're watching her say, like, "Whoa, this is weird. You guys are awfully close. Wait, why is she spending the night?" And so you're kind of watching them, like, rebuild their relationship, and you get to witness cute moments between them from the outside, which is really nice. And then her mother keeps telling her, look, eventually I'm going to tell you everything. I'm going to tell you everything.
And then
from
she
my
drops
life.
dead.
Yes, and then she drops dead. But her then girlfriend at the time, she said, look, your mother wanted to tell you everything. Here's all of her journals from her life. Her mother kept like ridiculously detailed journals, and so did she. And they took videos and recordings, and she gives them all to this 14-year-old girl. And then it switches back to the past to where Jolan, Jolan, with the accent at the A, Jolan. So I don't know if it's Yolan or something like that, but
that's one nice thing about reading. It doesn't matter.
You just make it up in your head. It doesn't matter. But you come back to her, and she's like in her early 20s. She's touring the country with her band. She's an amazing guitar player, and she does a lot of coke, and she's kind of like, doing whatever, and she meets up with this girl at this bar, who is the girl that she ends up with eventually, you find out. But she, it's still told, okay, the book is beautifully written. It's a really, really good book, with one exception that I have an extremely difficult time with, because the entire book is still told from the 14-year-old's perspective. And I think that the author really, really missed an important thing in this, because when she's describing her mother, snorting coke in the bathroom, she starts taking heroin, she's doing all these really hard drugs, and she's having sex with this woman in graphic detail, but it's all my mother.
Give an example.
I don't remember the exact
and then
example.
my mom went down on her for an hour.
and like my mom, and then used the dildo on the woman, and you're just like, or the strap on or whatever. I don't remember because I was traumatized. And whenever you're reading my mother, especially because it's not her mother. It would be weird enough if it was just her mother. But when you're reading it as my mother, then I'm seeing my mom.
Here, let me do a pretend. Mom strapped on.
No, I can't.
And lubed up.
And I don't understand why the decision was made to do it this way, because the journals are told from her mother's perspective, so it would be completely natural for it to switch to the mother's point of view. And you can just assume that the daughter is learning this along with you, she's on this journey, but that you are in the mother's mind. And then it would be me, my strap-on, not my mother's strap-on. Or my mother, what was it? My mother made love to her in a way that was not like that she had never done before. And I was like, no, I don't want to read about my mother fucking anyone. Please. And I mean, once you get, like, I'm going to finish it this weekend, I think. But once you get past them, once they stop having sex and she's like a serious smackhead, then it's not as bad because you're not reading about your mother having sex, but you're still reading about your mother injecting herself with heroin, and that's not enjoyable, but it's not as bothersome as my mother having sex.
Now, what happens if then mom becomes a crack whore?
Yeah, see.
I mean, then you're right.
This is where eventually she becomes pregnant, so something's gonna happen. Like, I don't know.
She was a crack whore.
She could.
I don't know. I don't know
yet. I don't know, but I haven't gotten there yet. But it could happen, and I don't know if I want to read about my mother. So it's hard. It's hard for me to finish this book and it's also really hard for me to review it because everything else about it is beautifully done. Beautifully done. I mean, it might be a bit long. It's really long. But I feel like if it didn't have that one really, really, it's really difficult for me to read, that one aspect of it that just ruins a lot of it for me, this book would be, like, perfect.
See, now I have an urge to like Photoshop your mom's picture onto the cover.
No,
of the book.
please don't. Please don't. I would never forgive you ever in my life.
I don't know.
I mean, it's a really good book if you want a book to, delve into, and it's hard. It's a hard read because, she's doing a lot of drugs and she's making a lot of poor decisions, and you have to kind of go on this journey with her. And if you can get over the mom banging, then you're golden.
I feel like I want to change my signature someplace to no mom banging.
No mom banging.
No first-person mom banging.
Please no. But aside from that, excellent book. So take for that. I don't know what else to tell you. You get a lot of bang for your buck. What was I going to say?
A lot of mom bang for your buck?
It's a lot. Okay. It's a really long book, so you get a lot of bang for your buck. You just have to be prepared for your mom delivering the banging, is the thing.
I can vouch for this because she's been trying to read this book for quite a while. And
for like weeks. It's been weeks, and I had to put it away after the strap-on. I was like, I can't do this.
But even while you were not reading it, you were talking to me about it. You're like, oh, man, I just love that book so much, but I'm getting hung up on this. But I can finish it, and I'm thinking about it all the time. So I mean,
because it's a really good book.
I mean, that says something.
Why can't it have not that in it?
Maybe that part will be done soon.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think we're going to the end.
All right. Well, you still recommend it, though, right?
I do. It's a really good book. It's just if you would have a problem reading something like that, do not read this book.
Luckily, I've heard plenty about my mom's sex life, and I'm already scarred, so I'd probably be fine.
You would probably be fine. You're like, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah, okay. Oh, no midgets? Okay, that's good.
That's fine. Good to go. Oh,
all right, so on that note...
on that note...
on that mom-banging note,
yes.
we've talked about a lot of books tonight. A lot of books. Almost all of them really good.
Yes.
Yes. So
definitely more than half, by far.
Oh, almost all of them, really.
Almost all of them, really. Just a little.
Just stay away from Guy Noir. Stay away from Guy Noir. Yeah. But besides that, I think there's something for everybody.
Absolutely. If you want humor, go for Clifford Henderson or Julia Watts. You can't go wrong. They're really good. If you want the mystery, Cheri's got you covered because she's read some really freaking good. I want to read that the funny mystery. I want to read with the ghost. I want to read that one.
The Consequence of Murder. I think.
Remind me once I get into a patch where I have time to read that one.
I think that you would really enjoy it. I mean, it
sounds like my kind of book.
I was driving home, and it was playing in the car while I was driving home, and I'm in traffic. People are pissing me off, cutting me off, and I'm just laughing, and it was really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So pick up some new books that hopefully we've talked about at least one or two authors that you've not read before. Again, all you Sarah Waters fans who have been waiting to see if this was going to be good or not, I've talked to a good handful at least of people who have read this book and loved it. So I've not actually heard anybody say that they didn't like it. And I've heard lots of people
we trust. So
yeah, and there are a lot of people that read her previous one, The Little Stranger, and did not like that. I did like it, but I know people who read The Little Stranger that didn't like it that really liked The Paying Guest. So if you've been waiting, now's your chance. Pick it up. Okay, well, Nikki, thank you very much, and I look forward. Maybe we can do this again in another month.
Yeah, I will have another fresh docket of books.
And maybe you'll be done with everything.
Maybe I'll be done with everything by now. That would be a
big bald patch on the side.
I know. I'm just like, I'm almost there. Just one more line of smack.
Just one more mom finger bang, and we're done.
God, no.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in. Go pick up some books. Happy reading. Goodbye.